Sup YouTube, this is Slide8 Fry here, so just a little bit late on this one, much like the before. Nostalgia Critic has uploaded a review of Pirates of the Caribbean at World's End. For some reason he claims that a lot of people say it's the worst one. I never heard that before. I could have sworn on Stranger Tides, the fourth movie was mostly considered the worst one, but I don't know. I'm curious of how much I'll disagree with him on this and what I'll agree with him on. So, let's take a look.
Easy way to save when shopping on your iPhone or computer. Guess what? I'm
Android,
coming to Dublin.
hopefully, too.
Come see me in Ireland at Vaticon, March 25th to the 26th.
I'm not going to Vatican.
April 2nd.
Let's skip that finally. I don't think I got my accent right.
Won't Sparrow here, ready for adventure on the seven seas.
Hush, Walter!
Did you see we're mourning the dead?
What?
What? What are you talking about?
Davy Jones has been taken down.
Oh. Maybe we finally beat the ink out of old Squidface?
No. It means the dead float aimlessly through dark waters.
Poor souls. I feel so sorry for them.
So we're gonna fight them like those skeleton pirates? Grow up! Walter!
What do you think this is, a Disney ride?
Yes!
No!
No!
This is Pirates of the Caribbean! Serious shit!
Which
the
was
father of
Disney,
one of the main
right?
characters.
Yeah, still is.
He was hanged because he heard too much information.
There's a little boy. He was hanged because he helped some random pirates out.
Jesus, we're hanging kids now too?
We opened the movie with it, Walter!
I thought we would open the movie with fighting the Kraken or something.
No, he's dead too.
This all seems very different from before.
Yeah.
What are you talking about, Walter? This was all planned from the beginning!
From the development of the ride.
To the green lighting of the first movie, everything was building up to Pirates of the Caribbean being the most dramatic thing ever made!
So toughen up, Walter.
Yeah.
It's a pirate's life for us.
Okay, they do make a good
okay,
point.
I see what you're saying. It's about the cruelty of mankind.
Aye.
The slaughter of innocents.
Aye.
The death of children.
Aye.
The auctioning of women.
Whoa! Mr. Psychopath over here!
But I
Walter, I thought I knew you.
thought we
Get
were...
out of here, man! I can't even look at you. Jeez, just talk about hanging kids, and they had to go and make it weird.
What does he think we are, pirates or something?
You should dress like it.
Oh, hey, there's Tamara's role this week before she got sick.
Aww.
We finally come to it. What many consider the worst of the Pirates films,
No.
Pirates of the Caribbean at World's End.
The fourth one that is.
Meant to end the Pirates trilogy, the film became the most expensive movie ever made at that point, and clocked
Really?
in at 2 hours and 50 minutes. Not that the pirate movies have been particularly short, but the film suddenly decided it wanted to be heavy and serious, almost like it wanted to take that pirates changing back at the end of the first film and milk it for all it's worth. But that moment felt appropriately built up. This film started without a finished script, and brother does it show. So many things set up in the first film and even the second film are either dropped or drastically altered. This wouldn't be too bad if the movie still had some laughs, but because somebody decided we want to be Schindler's List for some reason, the film takes itself way too seriously.
It's
It
got
was
funny
panned
moments,
by
though.
critics, not particularly liked by audiences, and often serves as a punchline for unbearable sequels to sit through. So, is it as bad as all that? Yeah. But let's take a look at why.
I don't think so.
Because the Pirates films have always been about government control to abuse those in need.
Okay, I think I got it. We...
Wrong!
This is Pirates of the
People
Caribbean
say
at
anything.
World's End. There's that Disney logo that shows we're in for an enchanted hanging. Yeah, it doesn't even
Yeah, I
ease you
don't
into it.
remember
It
it.
dives right into its
Okay.
own self-important ass. With anyone who ever has been or ever helped pirates in the past being hanged, including civilians, women, and like mentioned before, even children.
Yeah, that was pretty messed up.
Don't worry, we'll get you a booster seat for your neck breaking. What the hell am I watching? Look, if they wanted to make this heavier or darker, fair enough. A lot of things we thought would stay light have gotten heavier over the years. This is like going from Ghostbusters 1 and 2 to opening the third one like Sophie's Choice. Does the ending of the last one really match the opening of this one?
I got a jar of dirt. I got a
Not
jar
really,
of dirt. And guess what's inside it?
I mean, I wouldn't say it's
like
the
two
ending.
perfectly
but-
fitted puzzle pieces from two entirely different puzzles. They start singing the pirate song, which is apparently what our new head villain Beckett was hoping for.
Look at them all through the darkness I'm bringing. They're not sad at all. They're actually singing.
To Singapore, where we see
Good
Elizabeth
reference
and the
there.
resurrected Barbossa are trying to meet with one of the pirate lords.
Your masters expected us, and an unexpected death had cast a slight pall on our meeting.
Is she getting turned on?
And-
Yeah, many of the characters in this are quite different from the last film, too. Like, Elizabeth was always good at using her brains, and in between films, she learned sword fighting from Will. Okay, cool. But in this one, she acts like she was always a bloodthirsty pirate, and it makes no sense.
Yeah.
That's disgusting!
So they talk to Captain Sao Feng, played by Chow Yun-fat, who's trying to give this character some personality with...
Yeah, of course, she got the gun out of her ass, like what we see on so many cartoons. Right.
I don't know, waving Chow Yun-fat, who's trying to give this character some personality with, I don't know, waving his hands weird. Can you blame him? They gave this guy no character traits.
You have a request to make on me.
I find myself in need of a ship and a crew.
And a plot that'd be helpful. Oh, I'm being told we actually have too much plot. Oh, would you mind taking some of ours?
A thief try to make off with these.
He says a thief tried to break in earlier to steal his navigation of charts, and no surprise, he thinks he's connected to them.
Of course.
Hi, Will! Oh, that didn't help, did it? Actually, that is kind of what happens, as she reacts when they threaten to kill him.
He has no further need for it.
Aha! Gotcha! Nobody would gasp at losing Orlando Bloom. At the most they would muster in,
Oh, come on.
waste 10 minutes here until something finally happens. Yeah, get used to me saying that could have been cut. As it looks like they were followed by soldiers. Was she an animatronic from the ride? Don't forget to check out our gift shop. They escape with the map, which is said to take them to World's End, where they can get Jack back.
Yikes.
Give them credit. With PG meaning pretty much nothing nowadays, this is the most RPG-13 I've seen from this company.
Sure.
We see that Davy Jones is now being controlled by Beckett, who will destroy his heart if he doesn't do as he commands. This is similar to Bane being second banana to someone else. If the villain they're working for isn't as interesting, it simply isn't fun.
It's nothing personal, Jack. It's just good business.
They really try to make Beckett the big bad guy in this, as he wants to destroy all pirates, and he's just not written or acted in that enjoyable a way. Maybe if he was a charming stuffed shirt like Belloc or Donovan, or even comically annoying like Joffrey or Prince John, I could get behind that. But I ironically end up hating this guy because he's not fun to hate. He's just boring. Davy Jones was cool, he had an awesome backstory and design, he had a neat way of talking. This guy just acts like that kid who brags about how he got to play the newest video game first.
This ship do as directed.
And yet here you are.
Captain is to sail it as commanded.
You're mad. The immaterial has become immaterial.
I got the new Grand Theft Auto before you did.
Come on.
The amazing charm of Will and Elizabeth will once again entrance you.
How long do we continue not talking?
Once we rescue Jack, everything will be fine.
Then we rescue Jack.
Trust me, a lot of people are hoping that's true. They find themselves tossed over a waterfall that leads to random audio from the ride. Okay, that is the laziest way yet to tie this all back to the source material. In the first film, it was like 4 callbacks. In the second one, maybe 2. I bet you anything at the last minute they were like, oh shit, we have nothing from the ride. Quick, Harry, record the ride audio on your phone and we'll just put it in the movie somewhere. And a mere half hour in, we're finally getting...
On your phone? Let's see. This movie came out when? 2007, I think? I mean, unless he had like a BlackBerry or something. Maybe. I mean, sure, a lot of regular, like, flip phones had cameras on them, but I don't know if you'd get that good audio from them. I mean, maybe. Depends. I guess if you got close enough.
And our intro of Jack, which once again is pretty memorable. Half hour in, we're finally given our intro of Jack, which once again is pretty memorable.
Step lively! With a will!
Oh yeah.
Fire down below!
Okay, so I do legit like that Jack's punishment in Davy Jones's locker is being surrounded by other versions of him. I'm not sure if this is his unique punishment or if he just went mad and is seeing things or whatever, but
Yeah.
it's fitting.
It
Even if
is.
sometimes it does go a little too abstract. Yeah, why do I get the feeling the Gore Verbinski that directed this would have said yes to Jack's artificial nose in the first movie?
Maybe.
Don't ask your parents what that means, kids. If you haven't already left the theater crying.
Aw.
Or fell asleep. Yeah, again, this scene's like 8 minutes long. It's like being stuck in the world's most abstract escape room. I don't know what I'm supposed to do with this. I mean, what are we supposed to wait for rocks to start walking?
Yes, we are. They were crabs.
Even they
all
want to get
along.
the hell out of this scene. Tia gives new meaning to the term I got crabs as she has the creatures bring them the pearl and Jack. Jack, however, is reluctant to go back after Elizabeth killed him off.
4 of you have tried to kill me in the past. 1 of you succeeded. Oh. She's not told you.
Ah, so you haven't told them your little secret.
This apparently makes Will even more angry, which... wouldn't he be happy after that? He thought she liked him and she ended up killing him. Isn't that a good thing? Nope, we have to have a pointless rift between them, so now he's angry that she lied to him.
You chose not to tell me,
It wasn't your burden to bear.
but I did bear it, didn't I?
I've seen couples argue over rom-coms that tested their relationships more than this.
Good. This should be in the care of Davy Jones.
Even Tia seems different. Like, remember in the first film how much fun she was?
Second
Just
film.
cracking dark jokes, flirting, and celebrating what a twisted world we live in. Now she's a total wet blanket. Like, everything she says has to be so goddamn serious.
There is a cost must be paid in the end. The worst fate a person can bring upon himself. To be with she who love him truly. Do not forget it was by my power. Trapped in this single form.
Like someone who hears a joke about the Titanic and reminds you, people died. Never forget the rapping dog.
Wrong Titanic
To
film.
depress you even more as hundreds of souls.
Okay, most of you watching probably know what that is a reference to, but it was kind of obscure until JonTron had been reviewing it, like 10 years ago, I think. There was a company from Italy, and they decided to make an animated version of the Titanic film because of how successful the actual Titanic film was a few years before. I mean, it was the highest grossing film of all time until Avatar beat it later, also by James Cameron, both James Cameron films. Now, Endgame is the second highest grossing film, briefly the highest grossing film of all time, but Avatar #1 again. But anyways, yeah, some company from Italy, I don't remember the name of the company, decided to make an animated version of the Titanic. And just watch JonTron's review of it. That's all you need to know. That's a really, really, really bad movie. Like, damn. So that rapping dog that Nostalgia Critic brought up, it was in that movie, and it doesn't make sense because, the movie takes place, over 100 years, over 100 years ago. And, there wasn't such thing as rap until, like, the 1980s. So, yeah. There's broken English in that movie. There's a lot of really bad animation. The plot is just incredibly stupid. And the way it ends doesn't make any sense. It's pretty clear that this film company was just trying to take advantage of how successful the original Titanic film was, without even understanding that it was actually based off of a real, true tragedy that happened in real life. So the way it ends doesn't make any sense, like, at all. Anyways, yeah, you should check out JonTron's review of the animated Titanic film. It's crazy.
Titanic, it reminds you, people died. Never forget the rapping dog. We can pretend to depress you even more as hundreds of souls pass through the haunted shores because Davy Jones isn't there to guide them. One of them being Elizabeth's father.
Father!
Elizabeth!
Yeah.
Take the line!
No thanks, I think I'm happier out of these movies.
Oh, come
In all
on.
seriousness, Price does play this very well.
Yeah,
I
he
legit
does.
believe he's lost in between worlds, and all of that really is from his acting.
Are you dead?
I think I am. Well, maybe it's an extension of my mental breakdown, substituting a kind of reality in place of a bureaucratic nightmare. Either way, it's confusing.
I didn't see that
I
film he
learned
was
that
in.
if you stab the heart, yours must take its place.
They're told that whoever stabs Davy Jones's heart will have to replace it with their own heart and become captain. Jack mulls it over, and I'll give him this. This is a creative way to do exposition.
The Dutchman must have a captain. Well, that's even more than less than unhelpful. Sail the seas for eternity.
The sequel to Inside Out is a little bit more loaded than I thought it would be. They find
Inside Out
the way
came
back
out,
is
like,
to capsize the ship
9
before the
years
Green
later.
Flash at sundown takes place. And okay, I know this is basically a cartoon, but how the hell did they tie themselves like that?
I don't know.
Howee! What a predicament! The guns don't work, and they try to figure out what steps to take next.
Water.
Along the way, they see that Davy Jones was forced to put his pet down. It's okay, he told him about the rabbit shrimp before he did. They're captured, though, by Captain Sao Fang, who made a deal with Beckett and also a deal with Turner, creating, oh no, an even bigger rift between him and Elizabeth.
I need the pearl to free my father.
Oh, right, an hour in, and I forgot he was even a character. Hell, I think they forgot even the reason they were getting Jack. In the last movie, it was because they missed him. They traveled to the end of the world for him. They were freaking crying over him.
Will you sail to the ends of the earth?
Aye.
Yes.
Now suddenly it's because the pirate song is sung and they have to save everyone else. They apparently didn't even like him.
Did no one come to save me just because they missed me?
The monkey's the most consistent character in all the movies.
Oh, come on.
They're sent to Beckett, and Jack has a conversation with him that lasts 6 minutes. Now, that doesn't sound too long, but when it's nothing but confusing plot exposition, you start to feel like one of those brain-dead souls in those rowboats.
The belligerent homunculus and his friend with the wooden eye.
The black pearl was to be mine.
And so it was. Exchange for fair compensation. Where my debt with Jones.
Lord Beckett's not going to give up. The only shippers can outrun the
The
Dutchman.
rest go with me aboard the Pearl, and I'll lead you to shipwreck.
Elizabeth is not part of anybody.
Out of the question.
What's not the question?
With me killed, you'd arrive at the cove.
Then we have an accord.
Find it's a stronghold nigh impregnable.
Seriously, it's almost like we're watching the writers trying to figure out what the hell is supposed to happen next. I want to hear the guy from Life of Brian say, "Oh, they're making it up as they go."
I don't know. I mean, when it's edited that way, it definitely appears like that. But I mean, it's been a while since I've seen the film. But from what I remember, it was a lot more understandable than he's making it out to be. Honestly, granted, I think I've only seen this Pirates film twice. I saw it once in theaters, and once again. I saw it once in theaters and then saw it. Actually, I might have seen it 2 more times after that. Saw it on Disney Plus last year. So I will admit I didn't find the third one as memorable as the first 2, but still, I mean, I thought it was better than he's making it out to be. Anyway. We're near the halfway point. Let's continue.
So like 5 deals are made, including one where Elizabeth basically gives herself to this captain because it'll piss off Will.
Done.
They're pirates.
I have had more than enough experience dealing with pirates.
Yeah, you got your priorities straight. And Sparrow escapes, agreeing to be a spy for Beckett. And at 1:15, the entire running time of many decent adventures, not including the credits, we're not even at the halfway point yet. Well, screw it. I need a moment to process a very important question.
Why is the rum gone?
You know damn well why it's gone watching this.
Yeah, I get you. All right. Well, in the meantime, I am going to do this and do this right this time. So previously I had tried to show something, and I didn't quite get it on there properly. So I'm going to take care of that right now. The Wii U has a major problem. Well, what does that matter anymore? It's not supported anymore. Like, okay, it's been replaced by the Switch. Content, gotta go. This here is a members only video that includes, because if you've been watching my reactions to Nostalgia Critic, in the second one I got interrupted multiple times from my wife because, well, she needed to go to the kitchen, but also she decided to do some fun shenanigans with the puppets. This more crazy shenanigans during the recording is a members only video that includes some other stuff I didn't actually include in the final video if you want to check that out. But I'm going to go to this. And before we continue, I want to show you this. Yes, indeed. So this time I will actually go to the right place. Well, actually, I did go to the right place, just this time it'll be open, it'll be active. So here's my wife's Etsy shop. So here's some of the stuff she's made. I hope you guys will check it out. Shy Handmade Crafts, that's her gift, that's her name at the moment. These are some of the things she's made. And there's more to come. So please check it out. Contact shop owner, one admirer. I'm not familiar with Etsy, so I don't know what that means, but I'm sure she does, since she's the one doing the shop. Give it a shot. See if you like these crochets. I mean, look at the beautiful sunflowers. Look at the coasters. Look at all this stuff. Look at the Valentine's Day heart. Maybe order that for next year. All right. Before we continue, I wanted to show that part of my Pirates review that I was meaning to show last time, but wasn't able to find it. I have a better general idea of where I put it. So we'll get to that in a moment, and then we'll get to Nostalgia Critic ads in just a bit as well. Here we go. This role was made for Johnny Depp. We are very fortunate that the legendary Robert De Niro turned down the role. Don't get me wrong, he is unquestionably a Hollywood legend, but it just wouldn't be the same without Johnny Depp. Shame on you, Disney, for firing him over false accusations. How dare you attempt to make a sixth Pirates of the Caribbean film without Johnny Depp? I guarantee you it's going to bomb so hard.
You stupid.
Now, when we get yeah, that was the scene I was wanting to show last time, to kind of make fun of Disney's stupid idea of trying to actually make a sixth film without him and just showing that it got canceled. I included that in there and had to put that meme of the guy on The Simpsons laughing at you. All right. Everything good. Let's do the Nostalgia Critic ad and then go from there.
In today's living art exhibit, we have an example of man shocked by how much he saved using honey. Just look at how deep he is in thought, contemplating how much he saved. There now appears to be a cat in this living art exhibit, but he is not letting that get in the way. And he is doing a very poor job of that. Perhaps he is thinking, how do you feel when you find a deal? Do you feel smart, lucky, excited? He no doubt feels surprised when he gets a deal, like he's receiving a treat for free. Thanks to honey, manually searching for coupon codes is a thing of the past. The exhibit continues to pretend the cat is not a threat to his sponsorship, and acts like nothing is wrong, even though everything is wrong. He is no doubt thinking honey is the free shopping tool that scours the internet for promo codes and applies the best one it finds to your cart. Imagine you're shopping on one of your favorite sites. When you check out, the Honey button appears and all you have to do is click Apply Coupons. Wait a few seconds as Honey searches for coupons it can find for that site. If Honey finds a working coupon, you'll watch the prices drop. The man is now trying to stop the cat from rubbing up against the tripod, again, very poorly. This is riveting. He's also clearly thinking how much money he saved on a tablet recently, going from $149 to just $99. He is amazed and delighted at how much he saved and how easy it was to use. Unlike his cat, who he is still trying to keep from his camera tripod. Honey doesn't just work on desktops, it works on your iPhone too. Just activate it on Safari on your phone and save on the go. This is the man realizing the cat is funny and trying to get him back into the sponsorship. To no avail. Yes, very smooth. If you don't already have Honey, you could be straight up missing out. And by getting it, you'll be doing yourself a solid and supporting this show. Get PayPal Honey for free at joinhoney.com/nostalgia. That's joinhoney.com/nostalgia. This is the man pretending that the cat likes him even though he wants nothing more than to get away. This exhibit was an embarrassment, but Honey is not. Go now and be glad. Doug plays Arkham Asylum for the first time ever every Friday on Twitch.
How does
we
that
also
make
have
sense?
content
First
5
time
days
ever,
a week.
ever,
Hope
every
to see you
Friday?
there.
Would have made more sense if we said first time through it ever, not first time ever, because you play it again, it's not your first time, even if you hadn't beaten the game already. Whatever, I get what he means, but just the phrasing of it doesn't make any sense. Okay, so from what I gather at this point into Nostalgia Critic's review is there are some things, he makes some very good points. He does. I mean, it's not as good as the first two films, obviously. I still disagree. The fourth film is the worst one. I'm surprised there'd be a lot of people who think it's the third one. It's definitely the fourth one. But, yeah, I mean, the third movie does have what some might call a pretty confusing plot, a whole lot going on, a lot of things that aren't necessary. They could have made it shorter. But, I mean, for me, I actually was just entertained throughout anyways. There are some slow parts, that's for sure. But whenever Captain Jack Sparrow's on screen, it's always a lot of fun every time, especially when he's going back and forth with Barbossa. And it is interesting they never bring up that, didn't Captain Jack Sparrow kill Barbossa before? Like, how are they just, talking to each other like it's, normal? It'd be kind of hard to talk to the person who just killed you. Kind of like how Captain Jack Sparrow did not hesitate to point out that Elizabeth Swann had, basically killed him in the second movie.
So Elizabeth is at the hands of Captain Sao Fang as he, for some reason, confuses her for the goddess Calypso.
And you will be free, Calypso.
Now, don't get me wrong, Calypso is in this movie and she's Tia, because of course she is. But what makes him think this random woman he stumbles across is her?
And what the better now, Calypso.
Maybe I missed something, but in a film that's 3 hours of explaining pointless side quests, could you blame me?
I will take your fury.
Yeah, how's that plan on showing Will up? This is like Peach showing up Mario by going to a dragon convention and then being shocked when something bad happens.
Yeah.
Attacked, though, by the Dutchman, as his final request is that Elizabeth take over as captain.
You are captain now. Go on my place.
Wow, you're making Kirk's rise to captain in 2009 Star Trek look pretty coherent compared to this.
Elizabeth.
Yeah.
She's reunited with Norrington. Want to make out on trying to get back at Will. As well as Bootstrap Bill.
You know my name.
Yes, I know your son.
I swear you look just like him. So much friggin' stuff happens and doesn't happen in the next 15 minutes. It's enough to make you envious of the people in the opening. Will sends breadcrumbs of dead men to Beckett. Sparrow kicks him off. Norrington frees Elizabeth. Bootstrap Bill goes nuts and kills Norrington. Will reaches Beckett. He says he can lead him to the pirates. The pirate lords meet up and talk for another 15 minutes on top of the other 15 minutes of mindless talk we just had. Christ, maybe there was humor in all this, because the other films went back and forth a lot too, but they mixed it up with good jokes and surreal visuals. There aren't nearly as many jokes in this, weird in a movie that starts by hanging a kid. And the visuals are so drab and boring. I feel like if the color palette of The Matrix could puke, this whole film would be its vomit. Also, the other films kept adding stuff, new characters and creatures and so forth. Here we have the Pirate Lords, but honestly they don't do much. They look cool, I want to know more about them, but they just kind of scream at each other and that's it.
This is madness.
This is politics.
No, it's not true. At the center is a guy who barely knows where he is half the time. Well,
Yeah.
they have this guy talk funny and pretend they built up what his voice would sound like.
I'm really glad about that because that's one thing I actually love about that joke is, it's politics. Real life politics are just like that. People are arguing and they don't really come to agreements anymore. There used to be a time in, I don't want to get into politics, but there used to be a time where people on both sides of the spectrum could come to compromises, but nowadays they just simply can't, and part of it is because, well, often one side wants pretty unreasonable things and the other side is not necessarily brave enough to push what they want as much. So anyway, I'm not going to get into politics, but he makes a good point about about the current president.
Didn't, but whatever. This guy talk funny. It's not true at this.
This is madness.
This is politics.
Politics is
True.
madness.
At the center is a guy who barely knows where he is half the time. Well, they have this guy talk funny and pretend they built up what his voice would sound like. They didn't, but whatever. And they even have Keith Richards. Holy shit, the guy Jack Sparrow was based off of is playing his father, and they do nothing with him. He's just there. Actually, no, him just being there would be funny, like a walk-by cameo or something. But instead, they give him these empty lines that somehow leave less of an impact than if he had no lines.
Close the door. You're in my way, boy. Sea turtles, mate. Our boss is right. Not likely.
Granted, I do dig this line.
It's not just about living forever. The trick is living with yourself forever.
All right, that's not bad. Now get over here!
The only scene that kind of works is between Davy Jones and Tia, who's been revealed as Calypso. Maybe it's because these two actors are so odd and talk in such over-the-top ways, but for the short time they have, I do legit believe their bizarre romance together. Honestly, I kind of wish they had their own movie.
Would you love me if I was anything but what I am?
My heart will always belong to you.
Also, there is something funny about Bill Nighy finally being able to show his real face, and it's still covered in so much other shit you can't recognize him. I think Lorenzo Music showed his face more as Garfield than Nighy as Davy Jones.
You be the cur that led these wolves to our door.
This leads to, you guessed it, more people meeting up and just talking, as Beckett and the pirates make a switch between Jack and Will. Jones can't touch dry land for 10 years at a time, and as much as this movie is overwritten, goddammit, couldn't they show how they got Davy Jones in that bucket there? Did they carry him in the bucket? Did they put the bucket on land? They had to make a big jump into the bucket? Did he nudge the bucket with the weight of his feet to move it? The film needs more humor, and I would have laughed my ass off at this.
You fear death.
I think he fears a lot of things coming in the future.
Ugh, yeah.
Pirate's plan is to release Calypso from her human bond and ask for help.
Someone must speak the words, Calypso, I release you from your human bond. It must be spoken as if to a lover.
And seeing how I look like a half-burned Captain Crunch, obviously it'll be coming from me.
You didn't say it right.
But Wooden Eye Pirate says it the right way because he apparently had the hots for her? I don't know. This film focuses on stuff it doesn't need to and ignores all the stuff it shouldn't, causing her to grow in size. Honestly, a pretty decent effect.
Calypso!
We kneel before your giant cooch. Should I be censoring half these words? I think a lot of these are YouTube no-nos now.
Yeah. Hate to bring that up. I think a lot of us are pretty much over that trial by now. But, yeah. Fear death? Mm-mm. Not after what he went through. Oh my gosh. Amber Heard's a horrible human being for all that she put him through, and seems to is kind of just getting away with it. I mean, Johnny Depp won against her in the court in the trial, but I haven't heard anything about her actually paying what she owes Johnny Depp. Um, I mean, last I heard, she was in Europe or Jerusalem or something. I don't know, but I mean, at the very least, she's on the run, so that's something. And as far as I know, she's pretty much blacklisted from Hollywood. The thing is, Warner Bros. They picked their side and they screwed up bad. I mean, this is why I say Warner Bros. Is the dumbest film company on the planet. They fired Johnny Depp from playing Grindelwald based on completely false accusations instead of waiting for the trial to make a decision. And then the third Fantastic Beasts film with Mads Mikkelsen or Phil's Mil? What the hell was the guy's name? Mads Nicholson or something? I forget his name. He's actually a really good actor. He's been in other things. He was in the MCU. He was in that Hannibal TV show. In fact, he was Hannibal in it. He's a good actor. It's just that third Fantastic Beasts film, which I didn't even bother to see. It's like, no, screw you, Warner Bros. You fired him over something that he didn't even do. That, in fact, Amber had done, and just made the accusation against him. He just assumed, oh, believe all women. Women are victims. Men are abusive. Like, the other thing is, Johnny Depp's the only one we really know about. You know, like, even before that, there have been many cases we just don't know about. Many cases where the woman's abusing the man, and the man's, trying to be, calm and hospitable and not, resorting to violence while the woman is. Like, that happens in a lot of relationships. We just don't know about it. We only knew about it because Johnny Depp's such a big name, and he didn't deserve any of that. But, like, I mean, the other ones who go through abuse don't deserve it either. It's just, it could be that a lot of these other people couldn't find any evidence to sue their spouse, their partner over, or they didn't have the money to sue them, which sucks. I mean, that sucks. Maybe that's why nowadays there's a lot of lawyers advertising on YouTube and elsewhere saying that you don't pay anything until we win your case. Although it makes me wonder, what happens if the case is lost? Yeah, they said you don't pay anything until we win your case. So what happens if you lose the case? Like, that goes against what you said if they're going to pay for it, right? But no, they probably would have to end up paying for that, and that sucks. But that's the thing. Lawsuits cost a lot of money. They're expensive, But the other thing is that people just don't believe it can be the other way around. That's unfortunately why there are people who still believe Amber Heard, even though all the evidence points to her lying during the case. Like, she was lying the entire time. And if you watch the trial, you can tell that she was lying the entire time. And when she was crying, no tears came out. I was saying this the whole time. These are crocodile tears. There's nothing. And then when the jury announced their decision in favor of Johnny Depp, even the jury had actually said, yeah, crocodile tears. They were saying the same thing. My wife was saying Amber Heard clearly has malice. The jury was saying malice. Like, these were things that we saw by watching the trial. It was obvious. Anyways, I know we don't want. I don't want to. Obviously, I'm sure you'd rather just pay more attention to the review. Hey, Doug Walker's bringing up these things. Just pointing out there are people who go through these things. Actually, that just reminded me. I used to work at Round Table Pizza about 10 years ago, around 9-10 years ago. Actually, it's a funny story about that restaurant. It's when I lived in Roanoke Park instead of here in Santa Rosa. Roanoke Park is the town south, about 40,000 people, compared to Santa Rosa having 178,000 people. But anyway, I was working at Round Table, which that Round Table now, because it was franchised by a third party called like Singler Ernster. They changed their name to Terravino, and then that went out of business. So now there's a Mountain Mike's there. But before the Mountain Mike's was built there, actually no, I think it was after or during. But yeah, now there's a Mountain Mike's there. But then in the same shopping center on the other side of it, there's now a Round Table. So it's kind of weird how all that transitioned. But anyway, moving on. When I worked there when it was a Round Table before it became Mountain Mike's and all that, a coworker of mine, I don't remember his name, and even if I did, I wouldn't say his name, but he told me that there was some female coworker who was kind of coming on to him, I guess. I don't know the details. I don't remember exactly what he said. I actually had already stopped working there before any of this happened. I hated working there. Not because of her. I don't even know who he was talking about. But he decided to quit because he was wanting to file a sexual harassment claim against her, but then she said she would file one against him, and he quit because of that and didn't want to deal with all that. I kind of understand that. People don't seem to believe that women are capable of doing these kind of things to men, but they are. They very much are. I mean, it's happened before, and it will continue to happen again, unfortunately. I do hope from the Johnny Depp trial, people have learned to understand that, yes, men can be victims too, and no, not just victims of other men. They can be victims from women. Because it does happen. Now, granted, who knows if what this former coworker of mine was saying was completely true. Like maybe he was just wording it that way, and actually he was the perpetrator. But I wouldn't know. Um, it wouldn't surprise me if what he said was true, though. It wouldn't surprise me because yeah, society just always believes that women are the victims, and if that's how it is, I gotta say that's kind of a sexist thing to think, right? Thinking that women can't be strong enough to actually be the abusive one. Yes, they can. Um, I've been fortunate enough not to have abusive relationships with anyone I've dated. I'm happy to be married to a beautiful woman who isn't like that. She loves me and cares about me. Unfortunately, there's a lot of people who get into relationships where they think they're loved by who they're with, and it turned out to be false. Like what happened with Johnny Depp and Amber Heard. She didn't give a shit about him. Anyways, let's continue with the video. I woke up not too long ago. I'm having issues speaking. Like, maybe I should drink some water or something. I don't know. Water. I brush my teeth too, so I don't really want to do it. Damn it. I'll get to it in a bit. Got some sparkling water, and oh my gosh, I can already hear the difference in my voice. Jeez, should have done that before I started. But I had just brushed my teeth, and I didn't want to actually do that right away.
She gets a bad case of the crabs again, and they think she abandoned them. But Elizabeth, now totally a pirate captain, guys, gives an encouraging speech to rally the troops that I don't believe they get behind for 1 minute.
You will listen to me. Listen! They will hear the ring of our swords and they will know what we can do!
Okay, so she's not half-assing it. You can tell she's putting in the effort. But she's just not convincing.
They will see free men!
Finally, talk about her acting.
I've only seen this pirate lord for a few minutes, and I completely believe that's a pirate captain over Elizabeth.
Oh, yes.
Gentlemen, hoist the colors.
Again, if she was calculating and cunning like before, or maybe even just an honest sword fighter whose humble honesty wins them over, I'd buy that. But screaming when you put your hand in a pile of goo that used to be your best friend's face, I'm just not seeing it.
Yeah, this is something I didn't really get into detail about in my review of Pirates of the Caribbean. I just didn't really want to talk about that kind of thing, I guess. But I did point out that, and trust me, I'm not the only one. You could Google it. There's a lot of results for it, and there's a lot of articles about it. And look, I don't have any issues with Keira Knightley, like, at all. But like, she's not a very good actress. She tries, I can tell that she at least tries. She just doesn't exactly have the ability to really be all convincing in that. I mean, it just sounds like screaming. That's not as convincing as it needs to be. Now, I mean, it's possible she was written that way. Like, for example, I've been a defender of Hayden Christensen for a long time for his performance as Anakin. I had never thought that Hayden Christensen was a bad actor, even in Attack of the Clones, which is my least favorite of the Star Wars films. Revenge of the Sith is my favorite film, by the way. I love the build-up to Anakin going to the dark side. It's so well done, and Palpatine is incredible in that film. Of course, I think Palpatine being awesome in that film is something everybody agrees on, but like, I've never had an issue with Anakin's acting. Never. I mean, it does help that Nostalgia Critic years later, back in, like, I don't know, 2013 or something, maybe before, I forget what year, but he even also defended Hayden Christensen as Anakin, which was a very unpopular thing to do. Nowadays, people are actually appreciating Hayden Christensen's acting as Anakin, because here's what I thought the whole time. It's the writing. It isn't his fault at all. And I can give you even more proof of how, no matter how good an actor is, if the writing is that bad, their performance might not look so good. George Clooney, who openly admits he was a bad Batman. Well, we all know who George Clooney is. He's one of the greatest actors in the world. He's won Oscars. He's just incredible as an actor. But even he admits he didn't like his own performance. as Batman, and he has apologized about it multiple times before to fans of Batman. Which I gotta be honest, I gotta give praise to George Clooney for actually being willing to be like, I'm sorry, I wish I did a better job. But can you really blame George Clooney for that? He's an incredible actor. What are the odds that it really is his fault? It could have just been, the bad writing. So it could be possible that some of the issues may have been the writing for Keira Knightley, but the thing is, it's kind of consistent throughout the films. I mean, even in in Curse of the Black Pearl, the first Pirates film, you'll notice some things she does that just, like, why is she doing this? you know, I don't have any issues with Keira Knightley. I mean, as far as I can tell, she's a good person. She's, she seems like a nice human being, um, you know. But I'm sorry to say, she's not that good of an actress. Maybe there's some roles she's done that's really stand out. Like, I haven't seen the movie in a long time, but Bend It Like Beckham, I didn't notice any issues with her role in that film. But maybe it was easier to play that character than playing Elizabeth Swann. I don't know.
This beats worse, though, is the massive army of pirate lords and the massive army of British Navy line themselves up to watch just two ships duke it out. Right? They were building up this giant epic battle.
Weird,
Everyone needs to get involved, and it's just two ships spinning around like they're in a potty. Dude, even if you just said the other ships were fighting while these two were spinning around, I don't even need to see it. I just need to know it's happening, and they're not just sitting there like people who have money on an internet boxer. Why the hell did all these people show up?
An internet boxer.
The only one.
People who have money on an internet boxer? Like, what is he referencing? Jake Paul or something? Oh my god, that's so stupid. Let me go back. People who have money on an internet boxer. Sorry, I couldn't help that.
Just said the other ships were fighting while these two were spinning around. I don't even need to see it. I just need to know it's happening, and they're not just sitting there like people who have money on an internet boxer. Why the hell did all these people show up? The only one who does anything is Calypso, who I guess is causing the storm and whirlpool, but I don't know, why couldn't she just lightning strike all the ships herself then? Normally I wouldn't care that much, but because you spent literally hours over-explaining everything, I want every goddamn T crossed and every I dotted.
Raise up yours, you cockheaded decade! Die under the day, worst Liverpool!
That was complete gibberish. Rush just wanted to see if anyone would call him out on it.
I understood some of it, but okay.
I'm not even gonna bother. But he does break free and gets a hold of Jones's heart. You want to know one of the signs you're watching a bad pirate movie? When you're 2 hours in and you get to your first sword fight. Think about that. There's scenes where they have swords, even an occasional moment where if you blink you miss someone getting stabbed. But this is the first time we see what most people would qualify as an actual sword fight. It's like having a Star Wars movie and nobody fires a laser until 3 minutes before the end credits. There's just some goddamn unwritten rules.
Will you marry me?
I don't think now's the best time!
In the heat of the moment, Will and Elizabeth have Barbossa marry them because, yeah, they've really shown through the majority of this film that they're gonna work.
Dearly beloved, we gather here today. Today, the kisses to the mask of boxing term.
Hey, remember when this movie started with a little boy getting hanged? Now it's shenanigans!
I gotta admit, it's funny.
I didn't like this climax. It felt too one-note and didn't give the gigantic battle it was promising. But by God, there's life and humor to it.
Yeah, there is.
The stunts are creative and silly. The momentum keeps your adrenaline up. I even love how Davy Jones, in all the over-explained confusion, has to remember if he has the key to the chest.
You can do nothing without the key.
I already have the key. No, you don't.
I love that. Like, even he had to think, wait, did we film that? Jack does grab the key, but Will gets stabbed. And in order to save him, he forces Will's hand to stab Jones's heart.
Hold on.
Okay, I know this is supposed to be a silly pirates movie, but I just look at that thinking, G.I. Joe parachute set, shouting Captain Swan not included. The Dutchman arises with Will as their captain, and they take out Beckett's ship.
One thing I thought was really awesome, and this is something my wife pointed out to me when we watched this film again last year, is that, like, look at how much more beautiful the Flying Dutchman is. I hope Nostalgia Critic mentions this. If he doesn't, I'd be a little disappointed. The ship looks dramatically different. It was disgusting, full of, seashells and all this disgusting crap on the ship. And that was because, of the betrayal, just of what Davy Jones had done. But now, with Will being the new, I guess, Davy Jones, or however you want to call him, the new captain of the Flying Dutchman, the ship looks clean and, new, because he hasn't done anything wrong yet. That is something that is an awesome detail that I really appreciate. Oh yeah.
Included. The Dutchman arises with Will as their captain, and they take out Beckett's ship. So while this death scene is a lot of fun and hilariously over the top, I'm sorry, it's way too cool a death for this character. This guy has done so much nothing, and I don't feel any satisfaction when he gets his comeuppance. Imagine Billy Zane from Titanic or DiCaprio from Django Unchained. There's like a million other snobs I would love to see this death for, and it's wasted on this schmuck. Makes as much sense as cheering for not doing a goddamn thing. Well, we got the rest of our lives together. Want to hear some dad jokes? Rosa steals the Black Pearl again, but Jack steals his map to the Fountain of Youth. And I do like he returns basically back to the same scenario as he started with in these movies. With that said, it looks like Turner is now the captain of the Dutchman, and he can't set foot on land for 10 years. Oh, I guess he's gonna recruit Elizabeth to be on the crew. Nah, she's good. Just a bang zoom, thank you, Bloom, and she's off to live her life. Will she often join him at sea, seeing how she's a pirate lord and all? Well, actually, the end credit scene shows she got pregnant. I don't think she stayed captain after all that, but I could be wrong. However, a fan theory suggests that when Will comes back 10 years later, the curse will be lifted. Bar some dialogue that was mentioned earlier. But in another film, they show he's still cursed at sea. So yeah, this ending's pretty lame. So much better than how they ended the first time. Oh, I mean how part 1 of this clearly planned out trilogy began. Yeah, they had no idea what they were doing. I know a lot of films are like that, having to make up shit as they go, but it really shows with this flick. And I wouldn't mind the sudden tone change, the decreasing of jokes, the flip-flopping characters, if it just wasn't so damn long. The overwriting is out of control. And yes, there is an occasional joke to help break it up, but okay, what was the first film about? Pirates trying to break a curse. What's the second film about? It gets a little more complicated, but basically Jack trying to escape Davy Jones. I, for the life of me, cannot tell you what this is about. Aside from an hour and a half too long. For the most expensive film at the time, there's too much cartoony CG. For the end of a trilogy, it never feels like it was planned out. And for what was supposed to be a lighthearted series with an edge, transformed into a complicated bore fest. It's not the worst sequel ever made or anything, but it's definitely some really bad eggs.
And that's about it for Pirates Month. Stay scurvy, mates, and until next time, drink up, me hearties, yo-ho!
But
wait, we still got like 2 more movies.
What? Oh, that's right, they did make more.
No, that can't be right. Let me see.
Yes,
Shit, they did make 2 more movies.
They're the ones everyone forgets about.
Whatever. Tamara will be playing my part then.
What are they even called?
On Stranger Tides.
Called Secret of the Ooze?
Dead Men Tell No Tales.
Raise up yours, you cack-headed decade!
We're still doing cameos for charity, and this month we're doing the Kennedy Krieger Institute. The Kennedy Krieger Institute is internationally recognized for improving the lives of tens of thousands of children, adolescents, and adults with neurological...
This is the same ad that he was doing for the other 2 videos. Check out that charity. It sounds wonderful. Anyways, he made some really good points, but I just can't help it. I enjoyed the film. I mean, I do agree that it's too long. There's a lot of parts that are kind of forgettable in the 3rd film, but I can't help it. I enjoy it nevertheless. And Norrington was sorry for, associating with Beckett. Was that the guy's name? I always forgot the guy's name, but he apologized to Elizabeth because he didn't actually know. He didn't know that Beckett had killed Elizabeth's father, Governor Weatherby Swan. So at the very least, when Norrington died, he did show a lot of remorse for Elizabeth, which it showed that he still loved her. Although, I mean, I still think it's weird that he was already an adult when she was a child, and when she became an adult, he was in love with her. Like that's weird. But I do have to say that at least it seems like that love was like for real because he was really sorry to Elizabeth for the loss of her father. Um, if I remember correctly, Norrington did one last thing to try to help the good guys against Beckett before, Bootstrap Bill just completely lost it and killed him. Something that Nostalgia Critic failed to mention. I thought that was a really nice part of the film. I think the exchanges between Captain Jack Sparrow and Barbossa are pretty hilarious. I believe this is the one where they have that argument over who's captain, and Jack had the compass, I think, and Barbossa had the chart. So they're like, "Oh," it was like, "Hey, why have the compass?" And like, "I have the chart," and Captain Jack Sparrow's like, "Oh, well, that makes you chart man." Like, Barbossa's like what? Yeah, that's a lot of fun. This went on a lot longer than expected. Then again, this was actually his longest review of a Pirates film, although granted it is longer than the other films, so it kind of makes sense. Um, Calypso definitely had an interesting story. Davy Jones also did as well. And to be honest, I do understand what he means about Beckett because I cared a lot more about. I was more intrigued by Davy Jones as a villain than Beckett. Beckett was less interesting, but um, you have to admit the scene when the Flying Dutchman and the Black Pearl are both destroying Beckett's ship from each side. That's really cool. Like that is really an awesome scene. So epic. I'm not sure why both the Beckett's fleet and all the pirates didn't really do anything. They were just watching. I do agree that's an oversight because there should have been like some battling between them. That would have been it would have made more sense for them to show up. Um, and yeah, I actually think it would have been really funny to see how Davy Jones, got into that bucket of water. That is actually really funny. Um, there's a lot of good scenes in the movie. There are. It's not as good as the first two. I still think it's better than the fourth film. The fourth film had a lot of problems. Um, I actually enjoyed all five of the films, but I will say I actually do think the fourth film is bad. It's just so enjoyable, anyways, but it's not good. um, but look forward to what Nostalgia Critic will have to say about On Stranger Tides next, and then Dead Men Tell No Tales. I get the feeling he'll probably say something that I have been saying all along when it comes to Dead Men No Tales, and this is something my wife has also said too. We both fully agree on it. There's nowhere left to go after the fifth film. There's no reason to make a sixth film because everything was pretty much put together, solved after that. We'll get into that later when I reacted it. Well, if I react to the review of the film, I mean, I even said after reacting to Curse of Black Pearl that I can't promise that I'll be able to react to every video, but maybe I'll find a way. Anyways, before we go, I would like to show a scene from that new video I edited. Well, I guess it's not that new anymore. I finished uploading it early March. I had finished making the video after I finished reacting to the first Pirates review by Nostalgia Critic. So the Knuckles approves Johnny Depp movies. It might have been right after this. This is just a regular one. I didn't custom make it. It's a common meme thing. But anyways, the next one I custom made. I won't show the entirety of what I made for the Rum Diary, but basically, that's unfortunately the film where Johnny met Amber. Yes, I have basically made Knuckles go completely insane in that one because it's awful. I've also heard that the movie in general is really bad too. So, yeah, I mean, what do you expect? Amber Heard can't act.
What's the worst that could happen?
Well, that explains a lot.
Oh, it's disgusting!
All right, I'll stop it there. There's more, but I'll get to. But I'd like you to actually watch my video instead of me showing you everything. So I'm sure you'll understand exactly what I'm pointing out. Now, what's the worst that could happen? That's not. I didn't custom make that. That's been around. I've seen other people use that in their Knuckles approves memes videos before. The difference is what people put on screen with that. And basically, it's like Knuckles is thinking about these things, like, first is Amber Heard, Doctor Evil, and then the Sun and the Washington Post. That should be obvious because, for those who pay attention, but in case you haven't, uh, Johnny Depp actually sued Amber Heard not over actual abuse. He sued her over, it's not misinformation. What's the word? I can't remember what the word was, but um, he sued her basically for lying about him and making it public and ruining his reputation. And that's where the Washington Post comes in. She wrote an op-ed for the Washington Post and never specifically said Johnny Depp's name in the op-ed, but she was talking about him when she was being really negative and mean-spirited towards men within the article. As far as I know, the Washington Post op-ed now has like an asterisk on it or something because it turned out not to be true. I mean, if I were them, I would just try to delete it, put it in an archive of, oh, we fucked up. But anyway, um, um, during the trial, when she talked to her own lawyer, she said that Johnny Depp had nothing to do with the op-ed. But then when Johnny's lawyer, Camille Vasquez, kept questioning her about it, she literally openly admitted that she wrote the op-ed because of Johnny Depp. So yeah, what Johnny Depp sued her for, he was correct. That's why he won the trial, among other reasons. And then the Sun, the issue with the Sun, in case somebody don't know, most people are aware that Johnny Depp lost a trial in the UK, the United Kingdom. But people think he lost to Amber Heard. He didn't lose to her. She was only a witness in the trial. When it was Johnny versus Amber in Virginia in the U.S., Johnny had won. But in the UK, he wasn't going against Amber. She was just a witness in the trial. He was going against the British newspaper, The Sun. That's who he was going against. And The Sun wrote some hit pieces on him, and he was suing them over that. And unfortunately, the judge in that case had connections with Rupert Murdoch, who owns The Sun. So he ruled in favor of The Sun. And it's a very corrupt trial, like, especially with two different results, with two different results in the UK and the US. But the fact is, Johnny won against Amber in the US. He didn't lose against her in the UK. He lost against the Sun in the UK. And it was unfair and unjust because the judge had connections to the Sun. So, yeah. Rolling Stone, I think the picture, if I left it on screen long enough, should kind of explain it all. But yeah, it's proof. The Rolling Stone is going after Johnny Depp and basically promising to destroy him. Although we don't have any evidence that they said that, but it wouldn't be surprising if they said that because someone who is really high up in the Rolling Stone had been dating Amber Heard for quite some time and might still be. So, of course, they have motivation to destroy him. She's probably, doing certain favors for. Oh, banana, that'd be a perfect example. That's too suggestive to put on camera, but you get what I mean. Anyways, back to Nostalgia Critic. Really good video. I can't say I agree with everything he said, but he made some really good points. The movie drags on. Pirates 3, Pirates of the Caribbean, at World's End, it drags on. It really does. I'll admit that when I first saw it in theaters, there was a lot I just did not remember. But I think the reason why had more to do with the fact that I just hadn't really watched it again for a while. Like, when I saw Curse of the Black Pearl in theaters, I saw it multiple times on DVD after. I saw Dead Man's Chest in theaters. I saw it on DVD like pretty soon after and before watching at World's End. For some reason, I hadn't watched at World's End again until like many years later. Like, I had even watched on Stranger Tides in theaters and still hadn't watched it at World's End again. I don't recall if I ever saw it on DVD or Blu-ray or whatever. I might have. But perhaps at World's End didn't leave as much of an impression for me compared to the first two films. But still, I watched it again. My wife and I binged all 5 of the Pirates films last year on Disney Plus. And yeah, Disney, you guys are kind of dumb for firing Johnny Depp from playing Captain Jack Sparrow, and that's like the only thing that's really actually made the film successful. People love Barbossa as well. I think Barbossa is awesome, but the main attraction definitely is Captain Jack Sparrow. People don't really care as much about the other characters and really much of anything else in the films. Disney is also kind of dumb because they fired Johnny Depp over the same false accusations from Amber Heard that Warner Bros. Fired Johnny Depp over from Grindelwald. But to try to make a 6th Pirates film that he has nothing to do with anything in and make it a female cast, which there's nothing wrong with having a female cast in like anything. It's just doing it for the sake of doing it is dumb. You got to do it for plot purposes, for story. And the other thing is, it's the 1800s. Like, how many female leads are there going to be in a time like that? It wouldn't make as much sense either. This is why I think the perfect female hero is Samus from the Metroid games. It's a video game franchise that takes place like hundreds of years, maybe 1,000 years in the future. It's the future, so it's like, the gender roles would be a lot more even at that point. They basically, some people say it's not really even now with the wage gap, but I'm not going to get into that. But I will say, Ripley from the Alien franchise makes a lot of sense. It's in the future, and also I mean, she's a standout individual. She's a badass. But she isn't impervious. Um, and plus, she's had support with her for some of the movies as well. Damn, this has been going on a long time. Thank you so much for watching. Please like, comment, and subscribe. Click that bell icon to have your notifications. There's going to be some editing I got to do, but yeah. Hope you enjoyed, and I look forward to Nostalgia Critic reviewing the last two Pirates films. I mean, yeah, it would have made sense if they ended it with this one, but they wanted to keep going, and oh, well, you'll see.